Hello, and welcome to Talkin' Shop, a conversation with educational leaders. My name is Mike Randolph, and I'm the proud principal of the Leesburg High School, and I'm joined by Martin Aftuck, our co-host, who is the proud principal of Middleburg High School, a AA school here in the state of Florida. And we are joined by Mr. Rodney Keller, someone who used to walk me like a dog when I used to coach weightlifting. I'll be completely honest with you. So, Coach Keller, I don't want to say it wrong. I know that you are currently teaching AP at Clay Virtual Academy, but can you also kind of go into your job title a little bit?
Yeah, so just a little bit of background and pretext. I was at Clay High School forever and ever and ever. For 17 years, I was there at Clay High, and I pretty much wore a pretty healthy path between my classroom and the weight room and the practice field at Clay High School. I taught, out of my 17 years at Clay High School, I taught advanced placement history classes, among others, and then I was the boys and girls weightlifting coach at one point in time, and I coached linebackers there for a very, very long time. In my last 4 years that I was there at Clay, I was the defensive coordinator there. And then on top of that, I have 3 awesome kids and live a very, very blessed life with an awesome wife. And so I got to a point, professionally where it was like I was going from advanced placement classes up at 4:45 to get my workout in the morning. Mm-hmm. I was advanced placement, history class teaching. I was creating practice scripts and breaking down film and coming up with game plans, and I had a plan for my kids that were in weightlifting programs for us. And then I was on the practice field at football, and I ran from meeting to meeting, from my classroom to the weight room to the practice field, and I just kind of wore this very, very efficient path. And then when I got home, I was either coaching my kids' sports and or running more private coaching sessions out of my garage at night till sometimes 7 and 8 o'clock at night. And I got to a point where I was just like, I walked in and told my wife, really like 2019, 2020 was a big professional pivot year for me. I was like, all right, I sleep really, really hard at night, and I have got to find a way to pivot a little bit to continue making this work. So almost 2 years ago, I pivoted and started working for Clay Virtual Academy, and our awesome principal that we have now there, Miss Stillano.
Amanda Stillano, shout out, yeah. Amanda, yes.
For sure, no, she's been awesome to be, transition and to go to work for. I've been very, very blessed to work for some awesome principals. And again, this is not lip service. I'm not a salesman. This is an honest conversation here with you guys. Great principals over the course of my career that have been very, very supportive of everything that I've done. So I pivoted and I started working for Clay Virtual Academy, and then after school I was still coaching. I was finishing up our girls weightlifting program there, who had a tremendous amount of success to that point in time, and was doing some more private coaching and then taking volunteer roles across the county. So I was like helping out with my kids' flag football with our kids,
soccer,
soccer practices. I'm taking on all these different roles. But at the end of the day, as an educator, you want to find as many ways to be involved in your community as you can. And in the last couple of months, I accepted a role at St. John's Country Day School as the director of sports performance there. So essentially what I'll be doing there in that role, outside of teaching responsibilities and times and things like that, is creating strength and conditioning programs and nutrition programs for kids who are on campus there, late afternoon, evening times, and those sorts of things, because it's just what I do. I think, as an educator, you realize the greatest impact that we can make is just impacting young people's lives. I really think, in so many ways that you want to extend that to as many people as you can, and it's a way for me to continue doing that. But just, the background there with teaching and coaching has just been it's an awesome thing, and you just, once it's in your blood, you guys know, I'm not telling you guys anything.
Yeah.
You just want to continue to do that. And so people laugh sometimes, they're like, Rodney, how do you have, your teaching gig, and I know how you roll with your teaching philosophy, and I know you're crazy busy with that, and I do, and I've always poured into that, and will always pour into that.
Well, you don't get to teach AP World without pouring into your craft, right?
And he's not just AP World; he's got one of the highest pass rates in the state in a tough class.
Yeah, and so, and my thing there, I think a lot of it comes from the fact that I've had really great mentors over the course of my career, almost 20 years, was just look, whatever you do, whatever it is, you guys are principals, you're administrators, for me in the teaching and coaching realm in that regard is, find the very, very best people that you can lean on, because you're not going to know all the answers. And there's no need to be particularly unique. Let's be real. I think kids here so often they've got to be unique and they have to do all these things, and it's like what we really need is role models. And find those people that you can model. Find people that have had a degree of success and befriend them and ask them questions and let them know how much you appreciate them, and lean on their examples and reach out to those people and ask those people questions. I think a lot of times now, I think there's so much undue pressure on kids. It's like, who do you want to be and where do you want to go and what do you want to do? And it's like, guys, just relax on all of that. And let's just copy the model of, maybe copy is not the best term for that, but rely on the model of people.
Mimic, right?
Exactly.
Mimic
Imitate before you innovate. That's my big thing. Is
right?
Reach out to people who have had success. If people have had success, and the fact that people have had success, lean on those people. And oftentimes those people, the greatest impact on me is people who have struggled and they've just worked their way up incrementally and slowly and have figured it out over time, and again, collected the data and done these sorts of things that have worked very, very well for them. Lean on those people and reach out to those people and ask those people questions, because they will help you. Because most people at the end of the day want to help you, and they will help you, and they will help, wherever it is you're trying to go, they'll let you lean on them and they'll answer your questions for you. Because I think in any professional endeavor, you're going to have things that you struggle with, and having mentors and role models is tremendously important stuff. And I don't know that it gets talked about enough.
Can I tell you, you just brought up such great gold when you said, lean on people who have had success, right? Mm-hmm. So don't imitate people who have not had success. Really find the most successful people in your sport, in your endeavor, in your educational field, in your business field, and lean on them and find out, listen with intent to find out what they did to make them successful. That's
100%.
cool.
And most of those mentors are going to want to share. They're going to want to give that back as well.
Because there's a reason they got to the place that they did, and they know that, and they're cognizant of the fact, and because
someone's invested in them.
Exactly. And most people, and let's be real, if you don't have that support system, iron sharpens iron, right? At the end of the day,
We say that all the time. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. If at the end of the day, those people know, and if they're 45-year-old established professionals, they know they didn't just wake up one day and flip the switch and automatically understand these things. They leaned on people, they leaned into people, they asked those people questions, and you have to do those things. And I think one of the single most important things that we can get across to young kids and the young people is lean in and onto people that have had success, and just be willing to ask those questions, be vulnerable enough to just say, I'm not sure, how do I get to where I want to get?
Speaking of success, Rodney, I cut you guys off earlier because you guys we got on before and there was a great conversation. I said, Mike, we got to record this, man. We got to get it on here. So Mike Randolph was talking about getting his butt kicked by you a few times. I know you've won multiple state championships. There's a lot of guys, a lot of girls and guys coached forever and just don't get even close to that. So talk about how it felt when you got those girls, when you won that state championship, and what that went back to for you.
And talk about that process, right?
Yes,
100%.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for me, with those kids was just big picture view. Those are things. I'm 41 years old right now. I'm almost 20 years in professionally to this.
Hey, shout out for looking great for 41. Right? As someone who's about to turn 40, shout out, right?
I tell you, man, those are just moments that I'll just never forget. And the thing is, between the kids I've coached, and it's funny because the girls are what get brought up most often, but I can't leave my boys out that I coached on Friday nights under the lights. Man, those are my look back on those things, just unbelievable memories. Whether they be under the lights on Friday nights with just ACDC's rocking on the stair, on the sound system, and beating on the drums in the stands, and then next morning I text my girls. I'm like, hey, we got to lift on a Saturday, and they're like, on a Saturday? I'm like, yep, that's right, because you go to bed at whatever time you go to bed. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna open in the weight room tomorrow morning. We traveled. There was years we had the luxury. It was awesome. It was not a luxury. It was something that we intentionally built
You earned.
Yeah, right, exactly. That was earned. That we were traveling for playoff games, and I'd text the kids on the way back. We get back to the school at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, hey, I'm opening the weight room in the morning. I'm going to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning. And that's how you build those sorts of things. Like, it's just the degree of investment that you're willing to make. And look, are there methods that are more effective than others? Unquestionably. That's just, there are things, certainly. But at the end of the day, it is certainly the piece of, are you willing to invest in your kids, in your programs, I should say, and in in our schools to really have that degree of success. But I look back at that, like our first state title along with the girls back in 2021, 2022 it was magical. And the thing was, I look back at that, and the only way to articulate that was the word magical. Like it was such an incredible thing. It was just a culmination of how much work and time and energy and investment we poured into those kids to get to that certain point in time. And I think so many educators don't get an avenue to talk about how much they really pour into kids in our communities. And I don't think anybody outside of religious leadership in our community has the degree of weight and influence that we do with the kids that we see each and every day.
I agree.
Especially coaches. We don't talk about that enough. That the coaches.
And I can tell you, you just talked about time, energy, and investment. Wow, that shows what you've done with your student athletes.
Yeah, I like I said, I look back at that, and it's just like it was such a special chapter of my life. And I know those kids, they'll never forget those things for as long as they live. And I remind the kids, I'm like, look, like you're on a special run right now. I'm telling you, like and I'm not the smartest cat out there, so I'll tell you straight up. Like it took me literally 20 years to extrapolate 3 words from just teaching and coaching just as absolutely hard as I could in our community, and just investing and investing and investing and investing. And 3 words came out of that: just show up.
Wow.
I told kids, and I was like, look,
wow.
And kids that are just, and that was really for me personally. And again, I think one of the coolest dynamics that I've had the luxury to be a part of was academically and athletically, because I had such cool kids in classes in my advanced placement classes, and I had great kids after school in the athletic realm. And it was like, guys, look, like, we have a plan. Your teachers have a plan for you. Your coaches have a plan for you. Like, when that's the case, if you're willing to show up and invest, these things are gonna. We all live through COVID. And the weird and the oddities and just the general weirdness of those particular years. And it's like, if anything came out of 2020 and 2021, it's still just show up. And what's crazy for me is now, not even crazy, I should say, like, because I teach for Clay Virtual now. I still tell my kids, I'm like, look, like, you have a degree, like you have an obligation to just show up and still do the things that are expected of you. So that expression goes far beyond just, boots on the ground, standing in wherever it happens to be, whether it be in a weight room or on a practice field. Like, you have obligations in your life, and if you're willing to show up and invest in those things and to do the things that are expected of you by professionals, it'll work out well for you in the end.
And I think you talked about COVID, like coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
Now transitioning to Clay Virtual, I'm sure you see it, but just even what we're doing now, like I would have never in a million years thought about the video casting and what we're able to do. I think we learned a lot from COVID. There's some really stupid stuff we did that we look back on. Like,
much from COVID.
What were we?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that really covering up a keyboard with plastic, like. Anyways, but
yeah, right. A little much
writing X's on the whatever. But what we pulled out of it with Google Classroom, and then how you can teaching reading and teaching writing virtually.
Yeah, I think.
And can I tell you, Coach?
Yeah.
You talked about something. Just show up, right? What if we made our students just show up academically, socially, emotionally, spiritually, every day, right? The gains that we would have. So I want you to dive into that a little bit more, like the concept of just showing up and how important that is for you as a teacher. Again, we're glossing over this fact, but you are one of the top AP World teachers in the state of Florida, right, with the highest pass rate, right? So what's the importance of just showing up?
And I think that again that goes back to again whether that is academically or athletically is, are you willing to do the things that people are holding you accountable for? Like, and let's be real. Let's take just back up here and just take a big picture view of what we're looking at here. There are great jobs out there that people won't show up for. There are things that people are just not willing to do, and whatever your dynamic happens to be, again, whether you're in the construction fields or you're a high school kid, expected to be showing up in class, or you're expected to be taking care of things. Again, for me now with our online classes that I happen to teach, like there are expectations of you, and if you're willing to invest in those things and continually take care of those things, the universe will tilt in your favor if you're willing to show those. And let's just and socially too, like, let's be real, like with that family, with friends, with all of those things and all of those, those people that lean on you in the community, if you're willing to show up, be it physically, like you said, physically, mentally, spiritually, if you're willing to show up, the universe is going to tilt in your favor. And I don't know that gets talked about enough.
I agree with you. And I will tell you, just the value, and I'm taking notes. It might look like I'm looking down. I'm taking notes because, again, you are cooking right now. The importance of just showing up for our student athletes, for our teachers, for our family members, for our parents. Like, if we can just have everyone just show up, how much better of a society, how much better of an organization would we be? Right?
And again, it works across the board. And then, like I said, it took me, and it's the funny thing, in 20 years of I just poured in investing. I was like, God, like, with kids, I'd walk out the practices and I'd look at my phone and there's just 15 different excuses, and I would just, it would drive me insane. I'm walking out to practice, or I'm walking to I'd have my kids come in on Saturday mornings for advanced placement reviews and stuff like that. And I would just drive me insane. I can't because, and it's like, stop making excuses and find a way to show up, and whatever it might look like, for you. Again, dynamics are different. The challenges are different. I totally understand those things. Are you willing to set aside the excuses and find a way to just show up in your respective regard and take care of what you need to take care of every single day?
We talked to our freshmen today, with our freshman scholars today at freshman orientation, and we talked about everything on your transcript, everything on your resume is earned, and everything that's not on your resume is earned, right? So if you have 100 community service hours, you earn those. If you had AP courses, if you had AP credits, you earn those. If you don't have those things, you earn those by not doing the work. So just really focusing on what you earn is so special. You talked earlier about humility, and you talked about being able to lean into people who have had success, right? Can you talk about that and elaborate on that a little bit more about the humility that it takes? And again, I am someone who have gotten my face kicked in by you, Coach, a few times, right? I remember bringing our girls from Oak Leaf High School over, and we had a great team. We had a great squad. I had state lifters over. And I remember having a great squad and coming over and being humbled by what your young ladies did. Can you talk about that humility and being willing to work with other people who have found that success?
Yeah, I think we're only as good as our mentors. We're only as good as our mentors. And I don't care what it is that you're doing. I tell you right now, if my principal called me and said, Coach, we're gonna have to pivot a little bit here. I'm gonna have to have you teach chemistry. The first thing I would do is weep. Okay, I'm telling you right now, I would weep because chemistry is chemistry. But the second thing that I would do is I would find the best chemistry teacher in Clay County or across the state, and I would say, how should I, when should I, where should I, and in what capacity should I? And I would do exactly what they told me to do. Exactly. Exactly. And I tell kids all the time, I'm like, look, you want to be a dog catcher? You want to run a construction business? You want to be the this, be the that, be the other? Fantastic. You're going to have to swallow your pride. And, you got to build that educational background in it for sure, because that's so important. But you better find the absolute best in that particular field, and you better reach out to them with him or her with questions, and just understand that it's going to take you time and it's going to be process. But over time, here's the thing, the height of the pyramid is determined by its base. You learn and 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 learn, and then you copy the model and copy the model and copy the model, and then you start to tweak and refine and then make that thing your own. Whether that was, again, for me personally, whether that was academically for me, whether that was, on Friday nights under the lights, whether that was strength and conditioning. I had the wonderful opportunity of traveling around a little bit and getting to meet with some coaches, and I was like, look, by the time I sat down with the coaches, I was like, I've read your books, I've watched every YouTube video you've put out there, I've read all your articles, I've highlighted every single one of them. And by the time you tell somebody that's had success, when you tell them that you've done that, they're going to help you. They're absolutely
they're willing to invest in you, right?
Right, because they realize you're legitimate, you're not there wasting their time. You know what I mean? And again, I think that's with anything. I think but I also think that takes a certain degree of confidence to be willing to do that. I think some people don't. It takes a degree of
humility. It's hard to pick up the phone and call someone and say, hey, when scores came out, test scores came out a couple years ago when I was at Bannerman, I looked up and I saw, okay, who had these gains? And I called Roger Daly, and I barely knew him. Just went over there, sat down, we were talking for 3-4 hours. Mm-hmm. Just literally what did you do? And it wasn't like a magical formula. It was just a matter of going through that process and building that base of the pyramid like I love. Yeah.
I'll tell you, same here. Great school grades came out. I immediately called Marlene Strawn at Mount Dora High School that had that A school in Lake County and said, what did you do differently? But from a coaching perspective, I saw Coach Boyer for Leesburg High School achieve success that I never did as a coach. And I went to him and I said, how did you do it, right? And then I invested in him to the tune of my daughter, right? So again, talk to me about that. I'm going to go back to the sports here. Talk to me about your success and why is weightlifting so important for the development of a student athlete?
I think that weightlifting it's the ultimate process sport. And I think Aftuck had sent me a question about, and it really made me reflect on. It's like, who are your favorite memories coaching wise? And again, that's 20 years in. That's a really difficult question to just pinpoint that one or two people.
Great question.
But I think looking back, it's the ultimate process sport. When you look back on kids that came through, who everyone sees the end result. They see the kid standing on top of a podium. Or they see a kid who's standing there. I don't have anything to grab right now to hold as a microphone. That they're standing there speaking to the student body with a microphone in their hand, and everyone sees the end result. What they don't see is that kid who maybe didn't find their niche. I know it's pronounced niche, but that's so pretentious, and I just can't let myself say that. And they haven't found that niche yet. And by the time they're in 9th grade, and it's like, look. And I would recruit out of my classes so hard too, and I'd walk around the hallways, and kids would run away from me sometimes and things like that. And I was like, look, this is the ultimate process sport, and there's literally nothing that will allow you to maximize what God, Mama, and Daddy gave you like this sport. There's literally nothing. Literally nothing. I said, look, come out. The hardest part's getting started. If I can just get you to take one step in there, just give it this very first day, and then that second day, and then that first week, and then that first 4-week mesocycle, and that first 12-week macro cycle, and it's going to work out for you. But my big picture view, the kids are the best stories for me personally, because I found them the most relatable to me, because not everything came naturally to me. It was just the kids who struggled initially, who were just horrified to go compete for the first time. And I was like, look, just go do the thing. Just show up. Step out there. Just step out there and go try the thing. Go do the thing and try the thing. And guess what? That's where you start. And there you go start. And that kid that comes in 9th grade, they just they take their lumps as a pencil neck 9th grader. And then in 10th grade, they turn around and they're competitive locally. And then as an 11th grader, maybe they get on the podium or maybe they win it. And then those kids go off, and just the degree of confidence and just self-esteem and pride that it instills in people. I've never seen another sport do it the way, especially that weightlifting does. Look, never doubt the existence of genetic outliers. They exist. There's people that walk in and they're just like, they believe in themselves and everything comes naturally and everything's simple to them. But I tell you, watching kids who didn't have that, it's an incredible thing to see develop over time.
He's bringing in a weightlifter.
So I wanted to bring in my weightlifter. This is Riley.
Hi, Riley. How are you?
So she can hear you. Here you go, Riley. Here, jump on real quick. This is state championship coach.
Hi, Riley. How are you?
Good.
I need you to do something for me, okay? I want you to listen to every single thing that Coach Boyer tells you to do. He's a good buddy of mine. I respect him so much. Make sure you listen to everything he says and say, yes, sir, please, and thank you. He'll take good care of you, okay? I have a ton of respect for him, okay? Just so you know that. And I don't say that about everybody, okay? Just so you know that.
And just show up.
Did he give you anything to answer?
She's shy. First podcast appearance for her.
I didn't hear it. Here you go. I'm sorry. I just
Don't
wanted
apologize.
to
Listen, man, I'm
Riley
surprised my
jump
kids
on.
haven't popped in here. I got 3 littles in my house.
Popping
right
around,
now.
yeah.
Listen, I just wanted this one to jump in because she's been training with us all summer, weightlifting wise. So she's been training with Coach Boyer all summer. So Coach Keller used to beat the brakes off of me coaching weightlifting wise. All right, so I just had to introduce you. So again, humility is a big thing, right? And you have to be humble enough to know who is better than you at the time, right? And I remember, I'll never forget, and you probably don't remember this. This was my first year at Oakleaf High School, 2011. I remember bringing my girls over, right? And we were undefeated at the time, and your girls were too. And we came over to Clay High School, and your young ladies lifted in a different way than we had ever seen, right? But the humility that they showed to educate our young ladies and to help our young ladies and to guide our young ladies as well, that comes from the top. So that shows that there's a coach there that cares more about just winning, that cares more about developing student athletes. And again, that's always resonated with me as a story with you, Coach Keller. And again, you probably don't remember that. You just beat our brains in when we came over. I believe it was by 20. But again, just the willingness that your young ladies showed to teach our young ladies who thought they were good, who thought they had some technique, to really show them what it takes and really talk to them about that process was special. And again, it goes back to you as a head coach.
Now, I tell you, one of the things, and the year that we won our first state title, the thing that no one remembers. My parents do because they texted me about it. No one has a clue about it. Literally no one. We were at the district weightlifting meet, and we won it over there. And teams are sitting in the stands, and everybody's kind of wrapping up, and it's just everybody's just kind of spacing out, waiting for results and things like that. Our kids literally came out on the floor and started picking up barbells and picking up weights and breaking everything down and cleaning up and things. But I told them, I was like, look, this is what we're going to do. If we host this meet, it's not an option. We're not going to sit in the stands and watch people work. Here's what we're going to do. When we clean up today, when this is over and said and done, before they break out the podiums and they start handing out awards, I want everybody's on the floor. If I see you sitting in the stands, this is going to be a legitimate problem. We're going to go down to the floor. We're going to break everything down. We're going to clean everything up. And then we're going to sit down and they're going to walk through awards. I don't care if anybody says a word. This is how we're going to handle these things. This is the right way to go about things. This is a
100%.
non-option. Non-option.
That's character. That's character development. That's character teaching. And again, I love Coach Boyer. Shout out to Josh Boyer at Leesburg High School.
My guy.
Right? Like, again.
Well, first, I got to shout out Rhiannon Weiskopf and Ben Treywick, too, man. Do
You're a great job.
Listen, a huge shout out to Rhiannon Weiskopf, one of my former weightlifters, as I was at
District
Middleburg
champion
High
last
School,
year.
That's right.
Coaching.
That's right.
District championship. Yes, they got to come down to Leesburg High School. And Ben Treywick, let me just tell you, my guy. He is
3 in a row.
He is a good guy.
For us.
That is a good one. So I'm so proud of what you guys are doing. Coach Keller, can I tell you personally, as someone who is humble enough to say that you are better at what you do than I am, right? This has been educational for me.
You're also a
This has
principal
been
who does things
powerful
that I
for me.
respect the heck out of every single day too. Trust me. People don't realize, like, as a principal, you are running a town. Okay, there are so many moving parts every single day to what you guys do. I can only imagine the phone calls and the emails and all the things that you guys handle every single day that the general public has absolutely no idea about whatsoever. And again, as much respect as I have for the principals that I have and currently do have right now, I respect so much of what you guys do every single day.
Rodney, before we cut out, can you talk about we talked about kids, like with educational leaders, can you talk about the impact keeping up with your health and fitness has on leaders and stress?
Absolutely.
My big thing, back in, like I said, 2019, 2020 was a major, professional pivot year for me. It was just kind of like a transition time. It's one of the things that we did is I started doing a little bit more private coaching, and I started taking on, more adults that I was helping coach, that I was just like, look, my big thing was I realized, and I knew for me personally, how important the health aspect was. And my big thing personally was always, if I'm going to stand in front of young people every single day and tell them I need them to show up at their best, that I needed to do the same thing. And my question with, when I talk with, whether it's, full-time professional moms and dads or administrators around the county, doctors and lawyers that I had these conversations with, and I'm like, look, at the end of the day, do you really believe in what you do? And they're like, Coach, of course. What are you even asking me that? I'm like, okay, well, great. That's the first question I'm going to ask. Now I need to address the fact that how important it actually is for you to show up at your best every day for those people. Whether in your own household, with your family and with your spouse, with your kids, etc. At the end of the day, our role and responsibility is so tremendously important. We owe it to the people in our worlds to be at our very, very best for them each and every single day. And I don't think it's not that I don't think, I know that at the end of the day, it's our responsibility to be at our best for them each and every day. And the only way that we can do that is to take care of ourselves personally. And again, look, you guys are both principals, and your professional demands on your life and on your time are incredible. And I have my own, certainly. But at the end of the day, we have to be able to take care of ourselves, be that with sleep and with nutrition and with exercise and training and those sorts of things. If we're going to stand in front of young people every day and tell them that we need them to be their best, the absolute best way to influence them is to be at our very, very best every single day.
Coach, that is gold. So I just want to recap that a little bit and really pose a question to our listeners. Do you really believe in what you do? Now, can you show up every day at your very best? If you believe in what you do, can you show up at your very best every day? That's not just for our athletes, that's not just for our coaches, but that's for our teachers, that's for our administrators, that's for our parents, that's for our community members. If you really believe in what you are doing, can you show up every single day at your best?
I think too, and to tack onto that, I love sports for 1,000 reasons. And again, the new role that I'm in at St. John's Country Day and the role that I'm in now with Clay Virtual, and I still have these conversations all the time. It's we need you to take care of yourself. It's important. It's so important for so many reasons. There's so many very, very basic ways to do it. And I think sometimes as coaches, we get wrapped up in sports performance and athletics, and and it's what we really need our kids to do is be healthy humans and healthy people first. Whether that from you guys, and if that's with your staff and your faculty, or if with you as a head coach with your coaching staff that you have, and with the kids that you work with, we need them to be healthy people first, and then they can be healthy and productive students, and then they can be healthy and productive athletes. Then and only then can they do that. They've got to be healthy people first, and then it starts to spill over into other things.
Healthy people. Absolutely. So I'm going to end with this, okay? And I'm going to put us all on the spot with this. What do we do to ensure that we are taking care of ourselves on a daily basis? So I'm going to start with you, Coach Keller. I'm going to go with you, Principal Aftuck, and I'm going to jump into myself. So what do you do on a daily basis to make sure that you are taking care of yourself?
So for me personally, I'm a rule of three guy. Everything's just the coach in me. Everything is rule of three. Whether you're lining up on Friday nights, ABC and 1, 2, 3, and the gaps and coverage and those sorts of things, or whatever it happens to be, ABC and 1, 2, 3, rule of three guy all day, every day. For me personally, is I've got to sleep. Okay, I've got to take care of my nutrition, and I've got to be physically active every day. And that's me. That's three, and there's a couple other things I could definitely add into there, but I'll keep it to the three for now.
Awesome.
To a nutshell, right? So, Martin.
So this is kind of Ronnie and I have had
this. Make sure that you take
Ronnie
care
and
of
I have
yourself.
had these conversations. I turned 45 a couple months ago, and
You're 45? No way.
last year I got on the scale April 1st and looked down, and I was like 242 pounds. I was, man, like, and I was always lifting and doing those things, and you thought you were doing stuff, but you cannot outwork a bad diet. So I've gone keto and done that, and that works for me. Some may not work for others, but like I don't do bread on those things like that. And then also I've gotten into, just doing a little bit more different things in the weight room. Rodney, I've talked with you about some stuff, and then I'll shout out Clayton Anderson, man. That guy is a freaking beast.
Clayton Anderson's a beast, right?
Like, he's kind of, just talked to him, and he sent me, because I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like freaking 15-mile-an-hour sprints, like these things. He's like, no, he sent me his workouts. You go heavy and do those things, and they're tough. The first time I did his leg workout, I couldn't go to the bathroom for 3 days, but after that, and then he does a lot of steady state cardio. But just you got to switch it up and do those things, and try. I want to be here a long time for my kids, so that's a big piece for me.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the goal. For me, I found out that my routine has to happen in the morning. So I struggle in the evening trying to work out because, again, I have two girls, 12, about to be 13, 9 years old. They have a lot of requirements in the afternoon. So for me, I have to get my workout in the morning. And I found that waking up 4:45, being at the gym at 5 a.m., getting that hour time in the morning, one, has been the best piece of meditation for me. Because, again, I ask people, don't talk to me at the gym. Like, I want to go, this is my time, no electronics outside of the music that I'm listening to, no one talking to me, no kids running around. Let me just focus and reflect on me, reflect on my previous day, reflect on what's coming up. So I really take that time pregame. So I'm working to get myself back in habit. My daughter has been working out with Coach Boyer all summer, and his workouts for our rookies start at 7 a.m. So it's thrown off our workout time a little bit for me, not for my daughter, but she's been happy. I've had to adjust my time, but I'll go back to that 5 a.m. workout time coming back to the school year.
Yeah, I think the morning's the way to go, though. If you're a full-time busy professional, it's got to happen early. It just has to happen earlier, or else it's not going to happen. You're getting pulled in 8,000 different directions every day. If you're not up and at them early and getting that thing in first thing to start the day. But here's the thing, like, you've got to have that time where you just are out of your mind and into your body, and it's just like you said, it's like a meditative experience. You're just you're out of here and just into here, and you're just moving, and you're just like, like everything kind of dials, just quiets everything down, and you cut the top off the stress and things like that, and you're that much better for your day. For so many people that rely on us every single day.
So many people that rely on us. How can we show up being our best? So again, that's a great way to end this, Coach Keller. Again, what a powerful conversation. Again, your expertise. I've spent years getting beat by you. I also forgot that I coached against you while I was at Middleburg, coaching linebackers in
What year was it?
While you were at Clay High School.
Like my timeline's running around right now.
This was 08 to 10 that I was at Middleburg, and then I was at Oakleaf at 11.
Gotcha.
11 to 16 coaching. So again, this means a lot to me, just seeing someone that I respect personally as a coach, and more importantly, as an educator and a leader of scholars, right? If you go back to what Coach Keller talked about, he has one of the highest AP pass rates in the state, right? So again, it's not just coaching, and I often say the best coaches make the best teachers. And Coach Keller has just described that today. So again, today was Talking Shop, a conversation with educational leaders. My name is Mike Randolph. I'm the proud principal here at the Leesburg High School. We're joined by our co-host, Martin Aftuck, the proud principal of Middleburg High School. And again, Coach Keller, thank you so much for joining us and just dropping
Before we cut
knowledge.
off, how can someone, like, I know how to follow you. How do I follow you, Rodney? What are if I live in Clay County, this area, and I want to bring my kid to you to do some work, like, tell us how to find you and follow you and all those things. Yeah.
I'll drive.
I'll
drive from Leesburg.
So the private coaching that I do, I run through 5aweek.performance right now. Definitely the social media is just Rodney Keller, and you'll see Rodney.KellerFan5 because I'm a family guy all day, every day first. But definitely here locally in Clay County is 5aweek.performance. The private coaching's definitely gotten a little bit busier in the last couple of years. Has been a tremendous blessing for me and my family, and just to extend that in our community for sure. So I definitely appreciate you guys' time, and definitely appreciate you having me on tonight.
Well, I will tell you, if you are in Lake County or someone willing to travel to Lake County like myself, and I'll be with you, Coach Keller, 5aweek.performance is where you need to go to get your elite performance in Clay County. So again, today was Talking Shop with Coach Keller. Thank you guys so much. This is Mike Randolph signing out. Go
Thanks,
Jackets.
Rodney. Go Broncos.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good night.
Here we go.